So where are you even going? Like, where are you going in your life? And it's something that I ask myself constantly. I have got plans that I want to achieve by the time I'm 50. I've got places where I want to be when I'm 55. I've got a rough idea of how I'd like my life to be when I'm 60. I don't worry so much about that. What I worry about is the time between right now and when I'm 50. And although there is a plan and there is a mission and everything is in place, there are times when I have serious wobbles about what I'm trying to achieve within my life. And this, if I'm completely honest, is very much largely dictated by how successful my business is running. So I function as a human being on how well the business is doing. So if the business is doing well and I think things are working, then I feel a lot more comfortable about the direction that we're going. When it's not going the way that I want it to go, that doesn't mean that it's going badly, but it's not going the way that I want it to go. That's when it casts uncertainty and creates a lack of control. Now, I know a few people that this affects, not business owners, but the career driven. And ideally, what we want from our mission is some clarity to gain control and consistency, right? One thing I definitely think I'm guilty of is not checking in with that 5 year, like, am I on track to be where I said I wanted to be when I was 50? I do it for my weekly plans. I look at my weekly plans and go, yep, I'm on track here, I'm on track here. But what I don't think I do very well is connect with, where do I need to be at the end of this year? Like, what is the places that I need to be? What is the place that I need to be by the end of next year? So it's almost like I go into a long-term mission. So I kind of think about those things, right? It's very, very difficult, I think, when there are so many curveballs. Like, there's lots of things pulling at us all of the time. And mentally, it can be exhausting because you challenge yourself all the time. Am I doing this right? Is this the right direction? Is this the right action? Is that the right decision? And sometimes I think it all becomes very overwhelming, to the point where in your head, it can feel like it's super cloudy. It's like very cloudy, very misty, and you can only see 2 or 3 meters ahead of you. You can't see the horizon and where you're going. And that work on the long version of where you're going, I think, is essential as the morning routines, as the gym sessions, because that's going to create the identity, right? When I look into my future and I think about the direction that I'm going and the things that I kind of sporadically know that I want to achieve, that's going to almost create the identity of who I am and what I'm doing. And what I will do today, I'm going to the office today, and I'm going to go to the office today, and I'm going to spend an hour connecting with that long-term vision. I'm just going to get 2 things. Number 1 is clarity of what the mission is. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What's happening around me? Where are we living? Where are we? How are we doing? And I know it might sound a bit Chad, but I think these things all have to come together to realise that actually the work that you're doing today, personally and professionally, is meaningful. It's going in the right directions, achieving the right thing, right? Doing something just to get by and get through is very average mentality. If you're getting by week by week, if you're just surviving month by month, that just brings huge amounts of anxiety, huge amounts of doubt, huge amounts of frustration, and it's very difficult to operate in that mentality, right? The thing I think is so important, and we did this in one of the other videos recently, was like, everything has to have that connection, everything has to have that meaning, right? So it's almost like creating your shopping list for where you want your life to be, and then making sure that you allocate the right amount of time, like you do money, to achieving that shopping list, like you do when you go shopping, right? And I think unless we nail this is where the anxiety creeps in. This is where we stop showing up. This is where we lose that little bit of magic in our life, that little bit of desire. And the last 7 days, I felt that unrest. And that unrest has probably kept me awake a little later at night, or put me into a deeper sleep than I'll probably would have liked to admit. It's probably made me feel a little more unhappier than I would quite like to admit. And it's bring a certain amount of uncertainty that more than I would like to admit. And in order to do that, I've got to kind of bring that back. And then I've got to create a system where I really visually can see it. So I like, whether that's a vision board, whether that's a timeline, whether that's something I'm going to put around the new office that we've put upstairs, so that I can constantly remember the mission. That's ultimately what it comes down to. Remembering the mission, remembering every single thing you do is about achieving the mission in your life. And the mission doesn't stop until you're dead. And unless we find that control and clarity about where you're going, what are you doing in your life, we're going to end up just coasting through life, or we're going to end up having these anxiety pangs that take you up and down. And I really wanted to, not every video is going to be happy and joy and this is how you do it, but it's something that's really irritating me at the minute. It's something that's really affecting the way, my mental health, I would probably say. Not drastically, but just in terms of, it's a little black cloud that's sitting here and it just needs to be resolved. And I wanted to talk about it because I think you might need it resolved. You might need to look in the mirror and go, where am I going to solve the thing that we keep ignoring? And that means prioritizing some time to handle that. And if you have got it handled, then fucking winning. Don't forget to connect with it. Let's go.